Hello and welcome to another DC Corner. This is Ed Garrett for TMStash.com, bringing you all the latest from DC and looking ahead to New Comic Book Day, October 22nd. Let's talk first about the movies. DC has announced this week not one, not two, not three, but 10 new movies heading in through 2020. They're finally deciding to step up their game to match up what Marvel's been doing. Here's the lineup as we've seen from The Verge. 2016 will see Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and a Suicide Squad movie. And for those of you out there who are fairly new to DC, this will be a good answer to Guardians of the Galaxy. 2017 will bring us Wonder Woman, finally. Boy, we've been waiting too long for that movie. And Justice League Part 1. And you heard that right. There's going to be a Part 1 and a Part 2. 2018 will have a movie of The Flash starring Ezra Miller, so it'll be separate from the TV continuity, and an Aquaman movie. 2019 will bring us Shazam, which will bring in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam, and Justice League Part 2. And then finally 2020 will have Cyborg and a reboot of Green Lantern. Wow, lots going on in the movie world here. On the TV side, The Flash's premiere on CW Network was the highest rated premiere in the history of the network. Episode 2 ratings did not fall off very far, meaning that this show has, if you'll pardon the pun, legs. I love this show. It's my favorite comic book show to come along in years, with all apologies to Arrow, Gotham, S.H.I.E.L.D. fans everywhere else. It's an unapologetically comic book show with excellent writing, excellent acting, and a huge twist at the end of episode 2 that we're not going to spoil here, but you can catch full episodes on the CW app for iPad. There's other ways to catch it legally, believe it or not. And of course, on Tuesday, you'll catch the next episode. Can't wait for what comes next here. Let's talk comic books, though. In Batman Eternal number 28, Batgirl and Red Hood are having some very dangerous fun with Commissioner Bard, which is more than well deserved because we have found out Commissioner Bard is basically a lying snake in the grass. But the thrust of this issue is Catwoman in a very perilous situation at the hands of Bone. There is someone who dies in this issue, and it forces Catwoman to make a very serious choice that'll affect the future of Gotham for years to come. It sort of brings into a culmination some things we've been seeing back a few months ago in that issue of Batman that gave us a peek ahead to Batman Eternal. You're going to see part of that come out here. Future's End, the team that was trapped on the Blood Moon is trying to escape Brainiac's drones. They're in hot pursuit. And meanwhile, we get to see a couple of other storylines going on here. One is the ongoing or budding love triangle between Cal, who is really Tim Drake, along with his former girlfriend, and Ronnie Raymond, who's back in the picture here. And we'll also see one other character come back in the picture into action, someone who we've seen glimpses of but has been largely missing from the story arc for some time. The third weekly is Earth 2 World's End, and issue number 2 came out, starting in Geneva as the Wonders are facing off against the Fury known as War. There's other Furies, though, popping up literally all over the world. We do see where they're getting all those parademons. It's a little gross, but very interesting. And we do see Bedlam finally losing his grip while someone else gains a grip on several of the Wonders here. If you're wondering how DC has been planning to pick your pockets clean, this is it. All these weekly series are excellent. If they're not on your pull list, they ought to be. Just fantastic stories. Let's talk a little bit about some of the monthlies that were sort of highlights, at least for me. Batman and Robin number 35 had Tim Drake, Batgirl, and Red Hood finding their way to Apocalypse by using their good friend Cyborg against his will. I guess they learned a couple of lessons maybe they shouldn't have learned from Bruce, but they're all on their way to Apocalypse, all wearing, all wearing the symbol of Robin himself. Batman Superman number 15 wraps up this last story arc with some beautiful, beautiful artwork by Jay Lee. They have a terrible choice to make. That's continue as they are, or gaining their memories back and reliving every tragedy in their lives all at once. Now, this book continues the team up between Batman and Lois Lane, which we almost wish would continue past this issue. Lois even dons some Batgirl armor at one point in this issue. It was a great book and the end of a fantastic story arc. While that one's ending, another great story arc is beginning over in Justice League 35, the arc called The Amazovirus. It starts off with Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor announcing publicly their partnership. Sounds wild, but Bruce, of course, is trying just to get into Lex's labs. He knows if he gets in there far enough, he can find something that will allow him to shut down Lex's effort to gain all this public goodwill. He does see the next Bizarro Superman in incubation, and he learns 2 more huge secrets about Lex. We won't spoil them here, but one of them does lead into this story arc, which looks to be a very significant one for the Justice League. Looking ahead to next week, I'll give you some of my highlights that at least I'm looking forward to. First is Arkham Manor #1. Arkham Asylum has not been doing so well of late, and all the supervillains from there are going to be put in Wayne Manor. Now, I'm going to be interested to see how they pull this off without some supervillain finding their way past the grandfather clock and down into the cave. But it starts out on Wednesday. Slade gets his own book. Deathstroke #1 comes out. And the last #1 for the week is Multiversity, The Just. This is part of the overall Multiversity storyline. This is the story of Earth 16 from Grant Morrison, also known as Earth Me. This is where the children of the superheroes of that world, including Donna Troy for the first time in the New 52, don't have a really big threat to face, so they're getting a lot of publicity and having a lot of fun there. We'll see how they deal when there's a real threat that arrives on their world. Batman Eternal #29. Jim Corrigan has been holding the Spectre back for a long time. This issue, he lets the Spectre loose. Future's End #25 comes out. Earth 2 Worlds End #3 comes out. Flash 35 will have the battle between Future Barry and Present Barry, with the fate of Wally West hanging in the balance. I really do enjoy what Robert Venditti and Van Jensen and Brett Booth and Norm Rapman and Andrew Dahlhaus are doing with this book, and this should be a big issue here. Superman 35 with Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. Continue the Men of Tomorrow storyline. We had some pretty big revelations last issue. It's going to continue into this one. And finally, Catwoman 35 will show her taking over as the crime boss of Gotham. Now, that's it for the highlights for right now for just DC. But if you want to hear more stuff, not just about DC, but about Marvel and all of the indies, check out our Comics Week in Review podcast. That'll be later tonight. It'll be on Google Hangouts. And you can catch that live, or you can catch the recording later on our YouTube channel or over on the site. And, of course, next week you can catch me right here again at the DC Corner. So until next time, have a great week. We'll see you later.